Let's speak now to Andrew Lewin, Labour MP for Welwyn Hatfield. Now, Andrew, you were loyally backing Keir Starmer. How are you feeling today?
Hi, Matt. Well, thank you for having me on the programme. I think it's a sad moment for the Labour Party, and actually I think for lots of people in the country as well. You're absolutely right. I've been making the case for sticking with a Prime Minister who was elected less than 2 years ago, and I think he was absolutely right today in what was a very graceful statement, I thought, outside of Downing Street, to make the case for all he has achieved. And I wish we'd stuck with him, but we are where we are this afternoon.
How do you feel about Andy Burnham today, given that he's the man who's brought all this about?
Well, Andy Burnham has a lot of talent. I went down to Makerfield. I will always support the Labour candidate. It was really important that his hopeful and local campaign there defeated reform, and he did that soundly and deserves huge credit for it. But my reflections today are sort of about our politics and how we seem to have got into a place where everything is on fast forward. And we saw that with the last government, the Conservatives constantly rotating through leaders and prime ministers. And I know a lot of people who voted for me 2 years ago were looking to a Labour government to stability and to deliver on our record. And I think we've got to stick with the manifesto now that we set out and we put to the country, whoever takes us forward.
So you think that Andy Burnham should come in but carry on doing exactly what Keir Starmer was doing?
Well, I think we have a mandate from 2 years ago, and that's what the people expect us to see through. Whether or not Andy is the leader, I think it looks overwhelmingly likely to be the case. We've got lots of talent in the party, but we should have the confidence to talk about what we've already delivered. The Prime Minister did that on the steps of Downing Street this morning. And what I don't want as a Labour MP is for the view to take hold that the first 2 years of this Labour government have been a failure. Because in my view, that's absolutely not the case. There have been lots of successes. Yes, there have been missteps. That's true of every government. But we've got to have the confidence to say, Keir Starmer did a good and effective job, and he set the foundation, which somebody else is now going to build on.
So whose fault is it then that he's had to resign today?
I don't want to sort of lay blame at any individual. I don't think that's fair. I think my reflection is that the political world seems to be on fast forward, and it's not just affecting us as a Labour Party. I was listening to your callers a moment ago. The Conservative Party cycled through 3 prime ministers in the last Parliament, and it didn't do them any favours. I really hope that we can pause, take a breath now, and that whoever leads our party forward does it for the long term. And we make the case to people in the country that how you actually deliver change is through patience, persistence and determination, not by continually changing the leader.
Andrew, if you don't mind me saying so, you might tell me I'm over-interpreting it. You don't sound very enthusiastic about Andy Burnham becoming Prime Minister.
Well, look, as I said, my overriding mood today is one of sadness to see Keir go, and I stood by him and I stand by his record. Andy's got a lot of talent, a lot of qualities, a lot of attributes, and whoever ends up leading the party, they will have my backing. But I want us all as a party to reflect on how we got here and make sure that next time around we're backing someone and a programme for the long term.
Would you like to see a contest this summer?
I don't think that's likely, if we're honest, especially with the announcement made by Wes Streeting earlier today. And when I was giving interviews with colleagues of yours on the BBC over the last couple of weeks making the case for standing by Keir Starmer, I said, and I still believe, that a leadership contest at this moment, halfway through a Parliament, would mean the party's looking inward and would be destructive instead of looking outward to the country. So it's still my view that we should be focused on governing and looking outward and not talking amongst ourselves. So my hope and now expectation is that this is resolved quite quickly.
And where do you stand on the question of, if he does come in and adopt different policy positions, should Andy Burnham call a general election?
No, I don't think he should, and I don't expect him to pursue hugely different policy positions. But those are the conversations that now need to happen with the party. I think there is a material difference between having a sort of 2-month-long leadership contest and the next 2 or 3 weeks. The Prime Minister has set out that timetable this morning, where those of us who are MPs who don't know Andy as well can go and meet him, ask him questions, and we can agree together on the way forward.
Go on then, give us a sneak preview of your first question to Andy Burnham.
Oh, that would be telling, wouldn't it? I might talk to him about the European Union, because I think the Prime Minister has done a really good job in resetting our relationship with the EU. I've always been a pro-European, and I want to make sure that Andy stands by what he said before, that he is also pro-European, wants to deepen our relationship and see how we build on the summit, which is really important for us as a country, the UK-EU summit, which I know is in the diary for just a few weeks' time.
Andrew Lewin, really good speech. Thank you for that. Labour MP for Welling Hatfield.